The pursuit of happiness is often described as a chase, a frantic race towards some distant horizon where everything finally clicks into place. But for thousands of years, the masters of the East, the Buddhist monks and Zen practitioners, have pointed in the opposite direction. They teach that peace is not found at the finish line, but in the cessation of the race itself. Life is not a problem to be solved, but a reality to be experienced. In this video, we will explore 12 transformative lessons from the heart of Buddhist and Zen philosophy that will help you cultivate internal resilience, clarity, and a profound sense of well-being. These are not merely intellectual concepts, but strategic tools for living a life of depth and purpose.
As we begin this journey, imagine a mountain climber who spends his entire life looking only at the peak, never noticing the wildflowers at his feet or the majesty of the surrounding valleys. He reaches the top, exhausted and old, only to find that the view is no different than the one he could have seen along the way if he had only stopped to look. This is the human condition, a constant state of becoming that prevents us from ever truly being. Our modern world is a cathedral of distraction, designed to keep us in a loop of perpetual dissatisfaction. But by returning to the ancient wisdom of the East, we can learn to step out of the loop and reclaim our internal locus of control.
Lesson 1. The Law of Impermanence, Anicca. The root of most human suffering is the refusal to accept that things change. We want our relationships to stay fresh, our bodies to stay young, and our fortunes to remain secure. But the universe is in a constant state of flux. Like the seasons, everything that arises must also pass away. This is not a pessimistic view, it is a liberating one. When you truly grasp the concept of impermanence, you stop clinging so tightly to the highs and starting fearing the lows less. You realize that a bad day is just a passing cloud, and a good day is a gift to be enjoyed fully in the moment. Acceptance of change is the birth of true freedom.
Imagine a river. It is never the same river twice because the water is always moving. Your life is that river. When you try to dam it up, you create pressure and pain. When you let it flow, you find peace. Consider how much energy we spend fighting the natural cycles of life, grieving for a past that is gone, or fearing a future that has not yet arrived. The Zen master knows that to resist change is to resist life itself. By embracing impermanence, we find a steady ground within the movement. We become like the sky. The weather changes, the clouds pass, but the sky remains vast, open, and unaffected by the storms that traverse it.
Lesson 2. Non-attachment, Anatta. Attachment is the glue that binds our identity to external things, money, status, opinions, and even our own ego. When we attach our worth to these things, we become fragile. If the stock market drops, we feel depleted. If someone insults us, our entire day is ruined. Zen teaches us the art of letting go. This doesn't mean you shouldn't own things or have goals. It means you shouldn't let those things own you. You move through the world like water over stones, touching everything but clinging to nothing. Consider the open hand versus the clenched fist. A clenched fist can hold a few grains of sand, but an open hand can hold the entire desert.
Non-attachment is the expansion of your capacity to experience life without being wounded by its inevitable shifts. It is the realization that your essential nature is independent of your circumstances. When you are no longer defined by what you have or what people think of you, you gain a level of psychological immunity. This is true power. It allows you to participate fully in the world, to love deeply, and to work hard, but without the desperate need for a specific outcome. You become free to play the game of life for the sake of the game, rather than being a slave to the score.
Lesson 3. The Power of Mindfulness, Sati. We spend the majority of our lives lost in thought time, ruminating about a past we cannot change, or worrying about a future that hasn't happened yet. Mindfulness is the practice of returning to the now. It is the radical act of being fully present with whatever you are doing, whether it's drinking a cup of tea, walking to work,
or listening to a friend. When you are mindful, the monkey mind loses its power over you. You stop being a victim of your thoughts and start being the observer of them. Think of your mind as a busy highway. Most people are standing in the middle of the road, getting hit by the cars, thoughts.
Mindfulness is stepping onto the sidewalk and simply watching the cars pass. You see them, but they no longer have the power to knock you down. This shift in perspective is the birth of true agency. Instead of reacting instinctively to every internal impulse, you create a space, a gap between the stimulus and the response. In that gap lies your freedom. You can choose how to respond to the world, rather than being a puppet of your own habitual patterns. This is the ultimate competitive advantage in a world where everyone else is operating on autopilot, driven by their unexamined fears and desires. Lesson 4. Radical compassion, karuna. In a world that prizes competition and self-interest, compassion is a revolutionary act. Buddhism teaches that all beings are interconnected. Therefore, the suffering of another is ultimately your own. When you cultivate karuna, you shift from a mindset of me versus them to us. This isn't just about being nice, it's about understanding the deep-seated fears and insecurities that drive human behavior. Compassion for others begins with compassion for yourself. Forgive your own mistakes so you can forgive the mistakes of others. When you realize that everyone is fighting a hard battle, your anger dissolves into understanding. This understanding is the foundation of true power, as it allows you to lead and live with a heart that is both soft and unbreakable. Compassion is not a sign of weakness, it is the ultimate expression of strength. It requires the courage to stay open when the world is trying to make you close. By practicing radical compassion, you dissolve the barriers of the ego and connect with the universal experience of being alive. This connection provides a deep sense of belonging and purpose that no amount of material success can ever replicate. You become a source of healing in a world that is desperately in need of it. Lesson 5. Right view, sammadishti. Our perception of reality is often filtered through the lens of our biases, fears, and social conditioning. Right view is the effort to see things as they truly are, without the distortion of our own narratives. Most of what we call problems are actually just situations that we have labeled as bad. When you change your view, you change your world. A setback is no longer a failure, it is data. A challenge is no longer a threat, it is an opportunity for growth. It is like looking through a pair of dirty glasses. If the lenses are covered in mud, the world looks dark and threatening. Right view is the process of cleaning those glasses so you can see the sunlight that was always there. It involves questioning your own assumptions and being willing to be wrong. It is the intellectual humility to admit that your map of reality is not reality itself. When you align your view with the truth of things, the truth of impermanence, the truth of interconnection, and the truth of cause and effect, you stop fighting against the universe and start working with it. This alignment brings a profound sense of ease and clarity, as you are no longer wasting energy trying to make the world fit your narrow expectations. Lesson 6. The Middle Way, Majjhima Patipada. Life is often lived in extremes. Either we are overworking ourselves to exhaustion or retreating into total apathy. The Buddha taught the middle way, the path between self-indulgence and self-mortification. It is the path of balance. Just as a lute string produces the best sound when it is neither too tight nor too loose, your life flourishes when you find the equilibrium between effort and ease. Seek moderation in all things, in your consumption, your work, and even your spiritual practice. This isn't about being average, it's about being sustainable. The person who runs at 100% all the time eventually breaks. The person who sits still forever eventually rots. The middle way is the path of the long-term master. It requires constant adjustment and self-awareness. It is not a static point, but a dynamic balance, like a tightrope walker who is always moving to stay centered. By avoiding the traps of burnout and boredom, You create a life that is both productive and peaceful. You learn to navigate the complexities of modern existence with a sense of grace and poise, knowing that the most powerful force is not the one that pushes the hardest, but the one that is most aligned with the center.
Lesson 7. Shoshin, the beginner's mind. As we grow older, we tend to become experts. We think we know how the world works, and our minds become closed to new possibilities. Zen calls this the expert's mind, and it is a prison. Shoshin is the practice of approaching every situation with the curiosity and openness of a child. In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities. In the expert's mind, there are few. When you remain a student of life, you never stop growing, and every moment becomes an opportunity for discovery. Imagine you are seeing the ocean for the first time. You would be filled with awe and wonder.
Shoshin is the ability to see that same ocean on your 1000th visit and still feel that same awe. It is the practice of letting go of your preconceptions and truly listening to the world. When you approach a problem with a beginner's mind, you are free from the baggage of past failures and the constraints of traditional thinking. You become more creative, more adaptable, and more resilient. You realize that there is always something new to learn, and that the most profound wisdom often comes from the most unexpected sources. By staying curious, you keep your mind young and your spirit vibrant.
Lesson 8. Non-duality, Advaya. We are conditioned to see the world in binaries, good and bad, success and failure, self and other. This dualistic thinking creates conflict and separation. Zen teaches us to look beyond these labels to the underlying unity of existence. Success and failure are two sides of the same coin. You cannot have one without the potential for the other. When you stop judging every experience as either positive or negative, you achieve a state of equanimity that the world cannot shake. Think of a coin. One side is heads, the other is tails. They look different, but they are part of the same object.
Life is the coin. The events are just the sides. When you embrace non-duality, you stop living in a state of civil war with yourself and the world. You realize that your enemies are often your greatest teachers, and that your failures are the necessary foundation for your future successes. You move from a state of fragmentation to a state of wholeness. This shift in consciousness allows you to experience life with a sense of deep peace and acceptance, as you no longer feel the need to reject any part of your experience. You understand that everything belongs, and that everything is a manifestation of the same underlying reality.
Lesson 9. The beauty of silence, Ma. We live in a world of constant noise, digital notifications, traffic, background chatter, and the internal dialogue of our own minds. Ma is the Japanese concept of the space between, the silence that gives the music its meaning. Without silence, we cannot hear our own inner wisdom. Make time every day to sit in absolute stillness. Let the world continue its frantic pace without you for a few minutes. In the silence, you will find the answers that no book or podcast can provide. It is the vacuum that allows new ideas to enter. When your cup is full of noise, there is no room for the tea of wisdom. Empty the cup. Silence is not the absence of sound, it is the presence of awareness. In the stillness, you can hear the subtle movements of your own heart and the quiet whispers of your intuition. It is a form of mental hygiene, a way of clearing away the cognitive clutter that accumulates throughout the day. By cultivating a relationship with silence, you develop a sense of internal stability that is not dependent on the external environment. You become like a deep lake. No matter how much wind blows on the surface, the depths remain calm and clear.
Lesson 10. Kanso, simplicity. Our lives are often cluttered with physical possessions, digital noise, and unnecessary commitments. This clutter isn't just in our homes, it's in our minds. Kanso is the Zen principle of simplicity through the elimination of the non-essential. When you strip away what doesn't matter,
you make room for what does. Simplicity brings clarity. It reduces decision fatigue and allows you to focus your energy on your true purpose. Ask yourself, what can I remove from my life today to make it lighter? A ship carries more cargo when it is not weighed down by unnecessary ballast.
Your mind is the same. Simplify the external to clarify the internal. Simplicity is not about deprivation, it is about intentionality. It is the choice to focus on the things that truly matter and to let go of everything else. By simplifying your life, you reduce the complexity and the friction that cause stress and anxiety. You create space for creativity, for connection, and for rest. You realize that you don't need much to be truly happy, and that the best things in life are not things at all. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication, a way of living that is both elegant and efficient.
Lesson 11. Letting go of ego. The ego is a master storyteller. It tells us we are special, or that we are victims, or that we are better or worse than everyone else. It is the source of all comparison and jealousy. Buddhism teaches us that the ego is an illusion, a temporary construct that we cling to for a false sense of security. When you realize that you are not your accomplishments, your titles, or your bank account, the burden of maintaining that image disappears. You become free to just be. It's like taking off a heavy suit of armor that you didn't know you were wearing.
Suddenly, you can move, you can breathe, and you can connect with others without the barrier of your own self-importance. Letting go of the ego is not about destroying your personality. It is about seeing through the stories that your mind creates. It is the realization that you are not the voice in your head, but the awareness that hears the voice. This shift in perspective allows you to live with a sense of lightness and humor. You no longer take yourself so seriously, and you are no longer threatened by the successes of others. You become free to be truly authentic, to express yourself fully without the fear of judgment or the need for approval. Lesson 12. Living in the present. Zazen. The ultimate goal of Zen is not to reach some enlightened state in the future, but to be fully awake right now. Zazen, or seated meditation, is the physical manifestation of this. It is the practice of sitting still and watching the universe unfold within you. But Zazen isn't just for the meditation cushion, it's a way of life. Whether you are washing dishes, driving a car, or talking to your family, be there 100%. Don't live for the weekend or for retirement. Your life is happening now. Don't miss it.
The past is a memory. The future is a fantasy. The only reality is this breath, this heartbeat, this moment. By integrating these 12 lessons into your daily life, you are not just thinking about Buddhism or Zen, you are living it. You are building an internal sanctuary that no external storm can destroy. This path is not about becoming someone else. It is about uncovering the quiet, powerful essence of who you have always been. Remember, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and that step is always taken in the present moment. Stay mindful, stay compassionate, and keep walking the path toward a life of infinite clarity,